In a culture where it's easy to throw stones at Christianity or at the church, we've gotten plenty wrong. When we actually live into our calling, the watching world goes, I like what I see. That's part of the reason we're starting this church, is when we were in the Mission District of San Francisco, we had friends from San Diego come visit us, and they'd say, I don't go to church, but if this church was in San Diego, I'd be a part of it. And when I dug a little deeper and asked why, one of the reasons was to see a church that not only preaches good news, but lives it out is attractive. We see that in our own neighborhood. In this past week, when we were doing our Know Your Neighbor event, and I was doing the shopping for it, I'm over at the grocery store walking out early on a Saturday morning, and I've got all this food for the barbecue, and this lady who's walking in, young lady, she goes, hey, is there a party going on in the neighborhood? And I said, actually there is, and you're invited. She said, tell me more. I said, well, every first Saturday of the month, we throw this kind of block party for all our neighbors, for all our homeless neighbors, our neighbors with homes, and there's food, and there's live music, and there's joy, and there's connection, and why don't you just come check it out? And she goes, and you're a pastor? And I said, yeah. And she goes, I don't know about church. Last time I was in church, it went really bad. I haven't gone back since. I said, you don't have to come on Sunday morning. Come on Saturday morning. And so she comes, and she has a great time. And she goes, maybe I don't believe in coincidences. And God is showing me a church that's actually at work in this neighborhood to show me that God's still at work in my life and in this world. And I get to have lunch with her this week. When you live out the calling, it's a sign to it's show and tell with the gospel, where you are showing a God who's not left this world to its own devices, but invests deeply into it. You are blessed to be a blessing. This is for you and for all families. Now, there's dynamic tension here, like I said. What's dynamic tension? I'll use an illustration. I injured my ankle badly in a game of basketball years ago, and I had physical therapy. And in the physical therapy, they introduced me to this thing called the TheraBand. And the TheraBand is this elastic band that you push against with your foot or whatever part needs to be strengthened. And it's in the tension that you actually are strengthened. It's through the tension that you're actually healed. And so there's tension here where on one hand, it's I will bless you. And go, through you all the nations will be blessed. If you only have one or the other, there's no tension, there's no growth. For example, if all you hear and hold on to is God's promise, I will bless you, you will be tempted to use God for your own devices. You will be tempted to become a consumer of the goods that God can give you. You will seek comfort at all costs. You will become spiritually out of shape. You'll become selfish and myopic, just looking at your own particular life. What can you get out of God? And there's no growth. On the other hand, if all you hear is go, pour yourself out on behalf of others, you will become exhausted. You will think it all depends on you, and when it doesn't go well, you will become lost and bitter and cynical. Or when it does go well, your ego will become inflated, and you'll be triumphant and self-congratulating. But hear the dynamic tension. I will bless you. Go and pour yourself out on behalf of others. And it's in both the receiving and the giving that you get the tension where growth and maturity and depth take place.